We're back here on Extra Rounds from UFC Fight Pass. I'm TJ DeSantis. Please be joined now by Mila Hill, who is set to make her mixed martial arts professional debut coming up this Friday night on Fury FC 101. Myla, kind enough to give me a few moments here. I'm burying the lead a little bit, Myla, and it's kind of unfair, I think, because you're your own fighter. We should be talking about your career, but you have a famous father, Grant Hill of the NBA. 2 national championships at Duke, a staple of the NBA in my childhood. Obviously, you're going to get some notoriety and attention, but let me ask you just straight up, why fighting and why not, following in your father's footsteps and playing basketball?
Well, if you ever meet me in person, I'm pretty short. So my hoop dreams were quickly denied once I realized I wouldn't be any bigger than 5'6". So, I just saw it on TV. I grew up watching Bully Beatdown and Ronda Rousey. Obviously, when she blew up, that was just like a whole new thing that women can do this. And I quit playing basketball my senior year of high school and was like, you know what? Let's just start this fighting stuff. So I started jiu-jitsu, and it was just from there on. Now we're here.
You bring up something interesting, I think. Obviously, Ronda had a huge impact in mixed martial arts for women, but when we look at all of the professional sports across, the traditional stick and ball sports to combat sports, I think mixed martial arts is the most fair and equitable to women compared to the other sports, because if you're fighting in the UFC, like, I think the base number is 12 and 12. 12,000 to show, 12,000 to win. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. That's your starting salary. There is no pay disparity. Obviously, you're going to go out and make what you're worth, but is it fair in your mind to say that mixed martial arts is among, if not the most equitable for men and women at the professional level?
100%. And it's like, there's women fights and there's male fights on the card. So we're both getting the same views, the same eyes. And even like past the money part, it's like if you're entertaining and you're going to, get fans and money from that. So I think it's 100% equal and fair and just. And I think it's going to start drawing a lot more women to the sport.
It's one thing to take a jiu-jitsu class. It's another thing to sign a bout agreement, to get locked in a cage with another human being who is, trained to try to choke you unconscious. What's the jump? You said you started with jiu-jitsu. How do you become a professional cage fighter?
Yeah, so I walked to the jiu-jitsu gym first day and was like, I'm gonna be a cage fighter. And my coach at the time was like, pump the brakes, let's learn some stuff. So trained, got my purple belt, and then after I got my purple belt, it was like, it's time to go, time to train, time to take my first fight. And I was 19 at the time and didn't know what I was getting into, was just like so ready to go and learned so much from the fight. And, I've stuck with it ever since. So it wasn't a big jump for me because I went in knowing this is what I want to do, so.
It is interesting to have that mindset, maybe day one, but you come from the same cloth that cut a professional athlete in your father and Grant Hill. I assume that, whether it was basketball or this and mixed martial arts, that there's some sort of athlete in you that wants to, at least take something as far as you can and potentially be as big as your father, no?
Yeah, I mean, I love competing. I love being competitive. My father is who he was, and then obviously my grandfather was in the NFL, won a Super Bowl. So
Right.
we come from a athletic pedigree, and we just like to compete. And fighting's like, a perfect platform for me to do that. So I don't want to, ever. I respect my father too much. I respect my grandfather too much to say I'll ever want to be better than them. But I appreciate them for what they've done, and I'm ready to walk my own path with fighting.
Well, they're great, role models and inspirations, and I guess that's sort of my question. Obviously, you mentioned you weren't blessed with the height, but maybe the mindset. Do you feel like the mindset, is there a Hill mindset, if you will, to competing at a high level?
Definitely, definitely. My dad always says hills are gamers. So when it's time to fight or time to play ball, we're going to show up and we're there. And I just think it comes with like a competitive. We're just competitive in everything we do, and even my mom. We're all competitive, and we like to compete, and we like to work hard and accomplish. So I just think honestly, it's the environment I grew up in. It's all I know. So yeah.
Does that competitive level extend beyond like sports? Like, do I not want to be invited to like the Hill family game night? Are you guys gonna like get testy over Monopoly?
Oh, definitely. My dad takes Monopoly so seriously. I mean, when I remember growing up, crying playing Monopoly against him because he just gets so competitive but no, it's fun and it's all in good nature and we all love each other. So it's not like we're scared of anybody or anything like that. But we like to compete.
Yeah, how does your family feel about your sport of choice? Because I mean, like you said, there are trailblazers, I think, and we're going to see more and more women come into mixed martial arts, I think, than ever before. But it's still somewhat of an oddity for a young woman like yourself to choose combat sports, let alone mixed martial arts. Were your family, in full support?
At first, they were a little bit confused, and so I had been taking jiu-jitsu. I'd been doing jiu-jitsu, and for my 18th birthday, my dad had this masterful idea of taking me to a UFC event and sitting me right up front, super close, trying to scare me away from
Right.
fighting. And I've watched it on TV, but it's different in person. So he flies. We were in Raleigh. It was Raleigh, North Carolina. It was Curtis Blades versus Dos
Jardinio
Santos.
Rosenstrike?
No,
Oh,
Dos
okay.
Santos, I think.
Okay.
So it sits us right, like super close. And he's texting with my mom. She's gonna be scared, and like this is gonna be done. Like this dream is gonna be done. And the fights are done. And he's like, "What do you think?" And I'm like, "I can do this. This is something I can do." So his plan totally backfired. But once they saw like how much work I put into it, I mean, I moved halfway across the country. I live by myself now to chase this dream, to be a part of this great gym. So I mean, they've seen the work and the sacrifices I made, and they're just probably my biggest supporters, and I appreciate them for that.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe you're with Saif Saud in Fortis MMA.
Yes, sir.
And what has that transition been like? I mean, out on your own, being a pro athlete, like I think a lot of people don't realize how selfish you need to be a professional, especially at the highest level. And in mixed martial arts, it's a 24/7, 365
Yeah.
job. Do you enjoy this life?
I love my family, and I went to college in Florida, like 30 minutes away from my family. So I never thought I would leave my family, but this opportunity came, and it was just I had to take it, and I'm so blessed that I did. I mean, Coach Safe is great. I get to train with UFC fighters who are in my weight class, and I've learned so much from them, and it's just. I'm not a selfish person by nature, but it's like, I kind of have to be, and that me moving was a huge step in that direction. So,
Right. Yeah, I mean, surrounding yourself with talent, they say iron sharpens iron. You're going to know exactly how realistic this dream
exactly.
is pretty quick if you're hanging out and putting in rounds at
Exactly.
Fortis. We're going to learn a lot about you coming up here on Friday night in your pro debut here at Fury. But let's talk about the timeline. Obviously, you move to Texas. Fury's a Texas-based promotion. Is this right on time for the pro debut? Is this sooner than expected? What do you think?
Yeah, no, this is great. I'm a believer in Jesus Christ, and I think God's timing is always right. And this fight is going to happen, and I'm going to be victorious. So this is a perfect time. There's no better time than the present. So
You're a fighter, not a fortune teller, so I can't tell you to, tell me the future. But ideally, what does your pro career look like? How many pro fights do you think you need to get at this sort of level before you would entertain a call up to the next level?
I'm not rushing anything. I mean, I believe Coach Safe and his plan and whatever he's sees fit. I believe because he's gotten me here. So got me on the main card for my pro debut. So I believe in him, and I've never seen a decision my whole career, and I don't plan on ever, if I can help it, getting one. So I'm entertaining. I'm exciting. So I think that'll help my chances.
Well, it's not a tough decision, I think, for people sitting at home, whether or not they want to tune in. Fury is always a fun time. It's this Friday night live on UFC Fight Pass. You can watch Mila Hill make her mixed martial arts professional debut, and it's going to be a fun one. What do you know about your opponent? Anything?
Yeah, I mean, she's a game opponent. She's a grappler. I think she has a little bit of a boxing background. I've done a lot of film study. I think that comes from my basketball days, just studying her. But, she's game and she's mentally strong. She's not going to try to break. And she's, getting this opportunity to make her pro debut on a main card too. So I know she's not going to take that for granted, but, I'm here. This is my time. So.
I mentioned, just because of who you are and your family history, there's going to be some pressure on you. There's going to be some attention. Do you like the idea that you're making your pro debut, under the lights of Fury, UFC Fight Pass cameras streaming all over the world? Do you feel at home in that environment?
Pressure makes diamonds. So, it's like sink or swim. And, if I want to be in the UFC, if I want to be where I know I want to be, I got to get used to this. So this is all just another day in the life for me and for my future. So I'm excited, and it's no different than the sparring I do every single day. So I'm excited. I'm ready for it.
Well, you'll get paid for it this time. So there
Exactly,
you go.
right?
Awesome, Myla. Well, we appreciate the time. Best of luck Friday at Fury, and I'm sure we'll be chatting again in the future.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.